Hi, I'm Kathy Lindsay. Welcome to FPB's Meet the Candidates. This Cable 10 program allows you, the viewer, to get a close look at our candidates and hear directly from them. We've gathered questions from the community, and now we get the opportunity to hear how the candidates feel about issues that are important to us. This is all leading up to the primary, which is on May 17th. Today, we have Hank Schweickart, and he is running for the Fiscal Court as a magistrate in the 5th District. So let's welcome Hank. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
I want to get started by, there may be people watching today who aren't familiar with you or who you are. So I want to give you the opportunity to tell us about yourself and why you have chosen to run.
Well, I came to Frankfurt in 1984, fresh out of college, and came here with my wife and been here ever since. I'm married to Casey Schweickart. Me and her have been married for 21 years, and we have 2 children, Emily and Wyatt. And I have a son that's from a previous marriage where I have my grandson, which is pretty exciting to have him.
Pride and joy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He's a hoot. And I have worked at Kentucky State University for 34 years as a research assistant on the farm. I do, the work on the farm with the experiments, lay them out, collect data, turn it in. Mm-hmm. But I'm retiring in June the 1st. Finally, I'm headed out. And I'm a farmer. My family, or my wife's family, has a farm out in Ball Knob. So we have cattle out there, and we go out there and hang out with the kids and play in the creek and do all that kind of stuff.
Fun. So you're running in the 5th District. So for people who might not be sure if they're in the 5th District or not, what areas does that cover?
Louisville Road, South Benson, it's some of Carville Lane, Willowcrest, around the game farm, up behind Juniper Hills Golf Course, that area right there.
So in the previous experience that you've had, what are some things that you've learned that you think are going to be important to have on the fiscal court?
Well, as far as the people or some of the questions?
Anything. Just
well,
anything that's going to contribute to your success.
You're going to have a person who is not me or I. It's got to be we or them. I told someone the other day, I haven't had a job interview in 34 years. Mm-hmm. And I jumped into a 6-month job interview. That's exactly how this feels. Mm-hmm. And you're knocking on doors and you're throwing yourself out there to people. And they want someone that will listen, return phone calls and find out what they need. That's what the people really need more than anything. It's just a direct line from their house to the fiscal court building. And I've done some of that with the sewer work. We've had problems with sewers in our neighborhood, and I've done that. I've been to the fiscal court meetings. I've met with the judge and all the magistrates and people like that. So I think that's what they need. Someone that will listen and cares and will help them with what they need.
Okay. Well, inevitably, as a member of the fiscal court, you will be approached by people, organizations who are in need of money. They have projects they want to put in place here in our community, needs for the homeless, for the Humane Society, schools, expansion of broadband, and so on. So with all of these requests coming in, if you were on the court, how would you handle these requests? And as a court member, what would you say your priorities are as far as investments in our community?
Well, my wife is a school teacher in the Frankfurt City system. So we just come out of the COVID where they was all at home. The children was learning from home. And you take some of my area, Hickory Ridge, out in there's not adequate internet. So the internet, the broadband is a big issue out there. And schools, there's always going to be an issue with schools. We just have a budget.
Yeah.
And we can't spend money we don't have. Mm-hmm. We can at our house and we can at our business.
Right.
So we're just going to have to live within our means and, prioritize and pick what's best for the people in my district, because I will represent them. So if it really is not something I I have to take care of my people. Does that make sense?
Sure.
My people are the 5th District. And then we'll take care of the people, the rest of the people in the county.
So what do you see as the biggest issues in the 5th District that need to be addressed?
Sewer. That's the number one in my opinion. You know, because they're outdated. They're in need of repair badly. I've talked with the sewer board, the director of sewer board several times. Water, Farmdale Water. I talked to one of the workers on the way here. I stopped at the gas station, and I talked to him. And I said, "What do you need?" And he said, "Look, we need another person. We need another person." And I talked to the foreman over there the other day, and he said, "I spend 2 days a week or 2 days a month just mapping out where meters and water valves and stuff is." I said, "Why don't we have a company come in and do that?" That would make more sense than him out there doing it and then reporting to the company. Why don't we just have the company come do it? So those are the two greatest ones. And then the internet, you know, because who knows, the kids may end up back at home again. And they have to go to school. We got to teach them.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hearing, and I've been talking with other candidates about just the need to be more efficient, and that we're at a time where we're post-COVID. Some would say an economic crisis. We're in there's global uncertainty. Our gas prices are rising. The grocery prices are rising. Everyone's having to cut corners and find ways to like tighten up, buckle down their budgets, and that's not only in homes but also in businesses and in government. So every time we have an election, the question comes around. So I'll ask you, do you think it's time to revisit the possibility of a different form of government where we merge our governments with city and county for more efficiency?
The people in my district that I've talked to do not want to merge. They want their own fire, they want their own police, and they want to stay separate. You know, country people want to be country people. I mean, that's the best way to say it. They just that's the way they want to live.
So if that's not a possibility for you, you don't even want to put that on the table, what are some ways that the city and county government can work better together?
Well, I talked to some firemen the other day, and their issue was the ambulance service. You know, we pay a large amount of money every year to the city for ambulance. And their concern was that people out, like I said, Hickory Ridge, where my farm is on Flat Creek, where, you know, the family farm, the ambulance has to leave Louisville Road to drive out there. If there was ambulance at, you know, Ball Knob Fire Station, but we got to see if that's feasible. You know, the cost of the people, the cost of the machines, the insurance. You know, people don't realize there's insurance that goes along with that. And that's an astronomical cost, I guarantee you. So, you know, that we have to work better with that. And then someone brought up something the other day at the meeting about, you know, we pay city taxes, we pay county taxes, but then if we do something together, we feel like we're paying twice. So we need to let people know how they're paying and if they are paying twice.
Yeah.
You know, that guy, he was pretty uptight there for a few minutes about paying for something twice.
Yeah. So in our community, we have two park systems. We have the city. The city parks has their master plan for city parks, and then the county has their Lakeview Park master plan.
Yes.
How would you feel about merging just the two parks departments to create more efficiency?
Well, that was what brought that gentleman's discussion up the other night.
Okay.
Was, you know, they was wanting a pool at the county park.
Right.
Which is another issue. But he said that he would feel like if they put a pool at the county park, and then they had Juniper Hills Park, he would be paying for, or pool, excuse me, he would felt like he was going to be paying for two different pools. And he said he couldn't swim in but one at a time. So.
Well, have you seen? So, are you familiar with the plan, the Lakeview Park plan?
Yes.
Is it something that you support?
Yes, I was really happy about the amphitheater. I mean, I know that's kind of something that a lot of people wouldn't think
That's
about,
great,
but
yeah.
the schools can use it, the community. We could go back to having, little small groups in, concert type things. Things that you can take, mom and dad can take the kids, throw out a blanket, stop by a restaurant, get them something, and just sit there and listen to music.
Yeah.
Or see, the schools could have plays down there.
Sure. It's not cheap.
No, no.
So, how would you suggest that we get it paid for? I mean, can the fiscal court afford that?
Well, now that's something I'm really not sure about. I talked to another magistrate the other day, and he was talking about some type of a tax on hotels and things. I don't understand that at this point. I will study up on it more and be, know more about it. It's just this come up night before last, and
Right.
I just hadn't had time to look it up.
Sure.
I'm new at this. I'm learning as I go. So it's an educational experience every day.
Here's something that I know you can tell me. So, just as a resident here in Franklin County, what do you feel like we need in our parks?
In the park systems, they're so separate. The county has the ball fields, and Juniper Hills has the golf course and the swimming pool, and a really nice recreational area, picnic shelters and playgrounds for the kids, where the county park doesn't really have. They have a few, but they're booked up for great big things. And the playground is pretty small and not that new. So, but the other problem is people in my district out on Evergreen Road, South Benson, they have to drive to those places now. Gas $5.
Oh yeah.
And so we need to look at, making sure that we put the right money in the right place and make it available to people and all types of people, not just softball players
Sure.
or Saturday morning soccer kids.
So one thing that our leaders discuss all the time, the city leaders, county leaders, is the need for growth in our community. They think that growth means that we're being more progressive, and if we grow our community, then we're going to be a more successful community. So part of that is economic development, and people have different definitions for what they think economic development is. So how would you define economic development?
Well, a lot of Franklin County, Anderson County, it's whiskey. That's it. I mean, everybody looks at whiskey, building new warehouses, the bourbon tour, all that. But there's a lot more than just that. We got to get something in here to give more jobs, because can't everybody work at the state? Can't everybody work down at the distilleries?
What do you think is it that's going to make us more competitive with our surrounding counties
Well, one thing,
to draw in business?
yeah, we're going to have to do better with like I said, water, sewer, broadband, roads, traffic. And we have a good police department. I mean, I didn't hear hardly any complaints from people about the police. So people feel safe. They just want to live in a place where their houses will grow in value, not decrease because, something goes wrong.
Okay.
So we're going to have to, and we got to look out past, we got to look farther away than whiskey, Try to get something. Toyota's just right up the road. Why can't we be making seats or mirrors or something for them? And we need to bring in some kind of a factory out there where some of those have closed. There's empty buildings out there we need to have something in.
Okay.
I don't know what,
Yeah.
but we need to be something.
Right. Well, there is an organization here in town called KCDC, and it's the Kentucky Capital Development Corporation, and that's something that they try to do is they work with globally with business and industry to bring them to town. So I don't know if you're familiar with KCDC, but it is an organization that the fiscal court support. They give funding, partial funding to. And so a question that we had come in was asking if you would support the continued funding of KCDC.
Well, first I'd have to look and see their track record. Have they brought anything in?
Yeah.
Have they done anything? Or are we just throwing money at something?
Yeah.
You know, and if they have done good and they have helped us, then yes. But if they've done nothing in 2 years, we gotta pay attention.
Yeah.
We gotta start cutting things. You know, if your TV didn't work for 2 years, you wouldn't pay for your cable. So that's the way you gotta look at it.
Okay. A big issue out in the community right now is the expansion proposed by Buffalo Trace. They have proposed to expand into the Peaks Mill area. And some people are very for this. They're very supportive of Buffalo Trace because of what they provide our community. Some people are against it because they want to preserve the beauty of the Peaks Mill area. So I would ask you, because it's going to be before the Fiscal Court, if you were on the court, are you in favor of allowing bourbon warehouses to be built in areas that are right now considered, they're zoned agricultural and rural residential?
Well, I'm kind of one-sided on that because a friend of mine is farming that farm that they're wanting to turn into it. So I know a little bit about that. But at the same time, yes, we have to have growth, but you know, who wants a warehouse next to their house? It's like a prison. Everybody needs a prison, but nobody wants it built next to them.
Sure.
So we're going to have to see, you know, yes, we need the tax money from the whiskey, but at the same time, that person that lives in that house voted for that magistrate that they're expecting to take care of them. So we're going to have to look at everything and see, you know, is it going to mess up, you know, Forks Elkhorn? If something happens, we don't want that in the Forks Elkhorn.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what we got to look at. But yes, if it brought a large amount of money that we could bring in here and work on roads, fix schools, utilities and all, then yeah, I'd probably have to think awful hard about it.
Okay. Well, in addition to Buffalo Trace, there are other high-profile development projects in front of the public right now. Like I said, Buffalo Trace, the rezoning of Duncan Road has been before the Fiscal Court previously and upcoming. The city has a new project out. It's called the Paddocks, and it's out I-64 and 127 on the outskirts of town. When it comes to and there's people on both sides who support these projects and don't for different reasons or different reasons. But a lot of people say that it boils down to that it comes down to development versus preservation. And which do you consider that is more important for our community?
Well, the 127 is the area that I'm in. So when you leave and you go across the interstate and you head towards Lawrenceburg, there's two farms, really and truly, there's just two farms that separates Lawrenceburg from Frankfort. If you drive that way and you look, we just got a new Dollar General store. And then there's the Stewart home property. And then there's a farm, and then all of a sudden you're at Green Wilson Road, and all that starts into Anderson County. So there's only two pieces of property that really separates the two towns. And yes, out in that area, I could see more growth out there, as long as they didn't go past Evergreen Road, because that's pretty much our only break from being Lawrenceburg.
Right. So when if you were on the court, you would have people calling you all the time. You would have people from, just say, in a rezoning situation, people calling in support of and people calling who do not support it. How do you make a determination as far as how you would vote?
Well, you'd have to look at the impact on the community. You know, like I just said, we wouldn't want that in Elkhorn Creek.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff you have to look at. And plus the people. You know, if it's like a new subdivision, okay, or if it's a subdivision or building and the people know that could be there and they go ahead and buy, well, you knew it was there when you bought it. You It's like a farm. You knew you was buying next to a farm. Why are you complaining about a cow? You know, so
Yeah.
you got to look at that. But at the same time, you can't have 50 people, you know, dancing up and down mad.
Right.
You got to do something. But then again, it comes back to how much money is that going to bring in for us to be able to fix the roads and sewer systems and schools and all. That would be a tough one,
Yeah.
I think. And as far as the people calling, that don't bother me
Yeah.
because they're already calling and they're already coming by because of the sewer. You know, I've helped push all that. That's what got me into this. So we already have people coming knocking on the door
Yeah.
because something's going wrong.
Right.
So it's not an issue there.
As we're talking about development and growth, a term that a lot of people refer to is smart growth. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's just like I was saying, empty warehouses,
Yeah.
empty factories.
Yeah.
That's a smart place to put somewhere new.
Yeah.
Not a real pretty hillside, you know, with just, no. We need to take the places that's been abandoned or mismanaged or whatever and revamp those. I can see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But to tear into a creek bottom on Piecemeal or Kentucky River, whatever, no, let's see if we can't find a better place. Let's be smart about where we put stuff for utilities and traffic, schools, all that kind of stuff. Let's be smart about this. Look at all the options.
Okay. What do you see as the top concerns, particularly from the business community, that are issues that the fiscal court could address? Have you heard anything, from people?
Well, you always have the small person, the person that owns a place on Broadway, or a little grocery store, or a little gas station, or something like that. They're a whole lot different. Their needs are different. People downtown need parking. They need nighttime activities to draw in the customers. I understand that. And the gas station people, they just want the same old people come in, and they want everybody to be happy. But the factories, they just have to have the workforce. And right now, the workforce is not good because people are just used to staying home.
Right. That's since the pandemic, that has become an issue.
Yeah.
The availability of skilled labor, and that's not just here in our community. That's nationwide. So, do you think there's anything our local government can do to help grow our workforce?
Well, yes and no. That's a two-sided deal. We just have to get jobs in here that people want to do. They're talking about the national unemployment is because people are quitting, not getting fired, because they're looking for that better job. They're looking for that better job. So, we have to find companies that are willing to come in here and stay and pay the people and take care of them. And that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
If we don't, then we're going to stay like we are. Just keep plodding along.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you, as someone who has not been on the fiscal court yet, and you're running to be a magistrate, do you think that the fiscal court, which is public government, is adequately transparent?
Yes, it is. With all the Zoom meetings and all that now and the public meetings, they are. But like that gentleman said the other night, I feel like I'm paying for 2 swimming pools. And nobody in that meeting could explain to him what it was and how he was or wasn't paying. So I think we need to be able to have someone that can explain that to, but yeah, I believe the Zoom meetings, coming out of the pandemic, those kind of meetings are great because people can sit at their house and watch instead of going downtown, trying to find a place to park, trying to find a seat, and pack in that little room.
Yeah.
They can just sit there and watch it. Thousands of people can sit and watch you now
Yeah.
that couldn't before.
Right.
So yeah, people are more aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And when you knock on that door, they let you know they're aware of what's going on.
So, are there any decisions or steps the fiscal court has taken that, looking back now, that if you had been on the court, you would have done differently?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
Okay.
I mean, I know a lot of the magistrates. I know the judge because we've had to work on,
Yeah.
issues. And I get along fine with all of them, good with a lot of them, But yeah, they've all tried to do their best they could in the last 3 years,
Yeah.
which was a trying time for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, we're gonna start to wrap it up now. And I thought my last question would be for you, or you can kind of draw back on what we've talked about. So as you're running for magistrate in the 5th district, so what are the goals that you have for your term if you win?
well, number one is we have to work on our utilities, the sewer and the water. We have to work on that. Farmdale, it's a nice bunch of people, but they're losing water, 30 to 40% a day of what they buy. And the guys out there on the line fixing them and all, they're overworked. They're finding leaks every day. So we got to get them a little more help. And the sewer, it's just going to take money. They're outdated, they're broken, but the sewer board is working on that. And broadband, affordable quality, high quality internet in case the children do have to go back home. Or a lot of people have went to working from home,
Yeah. That's true.
and they're liking it.
Yeah.
They're liking it. They have their nighttime pajamas and their daytime pajamas, and they're liking it. But they have to have that quality internet.
Right.
And roads is always an issue.
Yeah.
Every time a car drives down the road, it gets worse.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be roads. But other than that, we'll just have to take it day by day and see what comes in.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming today, and I'm gonna give you one opportunity to look directly into the camera, talk to the viewers who are your voters, and tell them why they need to vote for you.
Well, like I said, my name's Hank Schweickart. I'm running for 5th District Magistrate. I started this when the sewer blew up in my yard, and people started coming. I started talking to the magistrates and the county judge and everybody, and they came to my house, and people realized that I could get something done. And so now they're coming and they're calling and they're knocking on the door and sitting in the swing with me talking about stuff. And I have all these phone numbers of people, and I just call them up and I say, Mr. Smith has got a problem, and can we do this? Can you call him? Can you call him? And they're like, yeah, we'll get a hold of him tomorrow. Then Mr. Smith calls me and he says, hey, your buddy called me. He's going to come see me tomorrow. We're going to get this all took care of. You're doing good. I appreciate you. It makes me feel good.
Sure.
Makes me feel good to help people. And people just want to be liked. They just, that's your nature. You want to be liked. And this is a way that I can help people some people that's helped me through the years and done a lot for me. Now I can do something for them or their family or their friends. And I'm making a lot of new friends on my walk and knocking on doors. When I can get somebody to open them, now everybody's got Ring doorbells. They want to talk to you through that Ring doorbell, We've had some conversations through them.
Yeah.
But, I'm new to government. I know a little. I learn a lot. I'm just, every day I knock on a door. It's a new experience that night. Go home, look it up, and call the people back. That's what they want. They want somebody to listen to them, find them help, and call them back. And when it started, I charged my phone like every other day. Now it stays plugged in. So, like I said, my name's Hank Schweickart. I'm first on the list when you go down to vote. My name is the first one. I appreciate if you push that button and remember me on May 17th.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Well, we appreciate you coming here. It's been a great opportunity to learn more about you and how you feel about the issues here. You can find more information about Hank on his Facebook page, so give him a search. Again, we appreciate your time. It's Hank Schweickart.
Yes.
And he is running for magistrate of the 5th District.
Thank you.
To our viewers, I want to remind you to continue watching Meet the Candidates to check out all of the folks who want to represent us, and then go vote on the primary election day on May 17th. Go home and tune in live to Cable 10 for live election results. It is election season, and that means it's time to get informed and then go voice your choice. We'll see you next time.